A breaking NFL news here. The Las Vegas Raiders are hiring Pete Carroll to become the team's next head coach. Man, this is cool. This is really, like if I was a Raiders fan, I would be totally excited, right? I mean, when I think about the Las Vegas Raiders, I think about a team with a ton of young talent, guys with high upsides that have not reached their full potential yet. I mean, I'm talking both on offense and defense. Diablo, Powers Johnson, Tucker, Bowers, who else? Michael Mayer, Tyree Wilson, who they took up at the top of the draft a couple of years ago, Jack Jones at corner. Like this team has a lot of talent, like a lot of young guys that I just feel like need to be developed. And I was a big Antonio Pierce fan. I wish it worked out, but to go from Antonio Pierce to a proven head coach in Pete Carroll, someone who's been in numerous stops throughout the course of his long football coaching career, to join up with Tom Brady and build this Vegas Raiders team from the ground up. Man, this is cool. Pete Carroll has always been labeled as a player's coach. He's always done a great job of getting players to buy in. I wonder, right, with Spytech now as general manager, what's going to be the approach in the draft? I assume they're going to allow Pete Carroll to have maybe more say than the typical head coach, of course, because of experience, of course, because of just respect level, but also, first-time general manager. You're bringing in, what is Pete Carroll, 73 years old? This is, in other words, I have a hard time seeing the Raiders hiring a guy in Pete Carroll who could essentially, I don't want to say get a job anywhere, but, if Pete Carroll's out there, teams are going to be interested, teams are going to be calling. I don't see the Raiders hiring Carroll and saying, no, we're going to boss you around. You need to, follow our rules. I think it's going to be a nice mix, but I do feel like Carroll is going to have say. And when you look at how those Seattle Seahawks teams were built throughout the years, there was a huge emphasis on competitive nature, right? When we're talking about drafting college kids, right? Competitive nature, physical attributes, how long, how fast are these individuals, vertical jump. So really focusing in on those just athletic freaks, those physical phenoms, and also pairing those physical attributes with that just highly competitive, I'm going to knock you out, I'm going to go intercept that football, I'm going to go cause that forced fumble, I'm going to go score that touchdown. When you combine those two traits, you get a product like we've seen in Seattle over these past, however long Pete Carroll was there for, a long time. So I'm excited for the Raiders because, again, a team with young talent, a team that I feel like really just needs a leader up top, someone who has experience, someone who is someone that they can look to, someone that has, previous success. Tom Brady kind of mirrors that to a certain degree, but it doesn't really feel like a super seamless fit because he's in ownership. He's not going to be on the field, game planning, practicing, things like that. Pete Carroll is. So I'm happy for the Raiders. I think this is a great hire, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out, especially when it comes to the NFL draft. Do they trade up for a quarterback? There's a team sitting there at spot number 2 in the Cleveland Browns that I would say right now probably they're not going to take one just based off of Kevin Stefanski's system and whatnot. I do think one goes to the Titans at first overall, and then you have the Giants at 3. Do the Raiders jump from where they're at now to spot number 2 to hop the New York Giants to go out and get maybe a Sanders, maybe a Cam Ward, depending on how, the dominoes fall in, the draft cycle, of course. But, I think it's interesting. I really think it's interesting. Obviously, the free agent class for quarterbacks isn't super exciting. Or maybe do they pull off a trade for someone else, right? Maybe a current starter somewhere that the team wants to move off of for whatever reason. I like the Raiders, man. Let me know your thoughts down below. And as always, go Jets.